I always aim to be positive, but the current state of City Skylines 2 and its DLC practices do not leave much room for positivity. The August 2025 update blog post from Colossal Order, the developer of City Skylines 2, highlights the poor state of the game nearly 2 years after release. At the very beginning of the update, they say, "We know that many of you are waiting for news about the console release and the asset editor. While we don't have any updates to share today, both remain important to us, and we'll let you know as soon as we have concrete news to share." It's been almost 2 years since the game's release, and they don't have concrete news to share about when or if the console ports or asset editor are coming. That's troubling, but that's just the start. The first major expansion, Bridges and Ports, was announced alongside the game in March 2023. Originally set to release in the first half of 2024, it was delayed into the first half of 2025 after the base game launched in a poor state. Now, with the first half of 2025 behind us, Bridges and Ports has been delayed yet again to the end of 2025. This unreleased and long-delayed expansion has been available for pre-purchase as part of the Expansion Pass Waterfronts, which costs nearly as much as the game itself, and it is bundled into the so-called Ultimate Edition. I am not a fan of pre-ordering games, but at least those typically have real release dates. Here, Colossal Order and Paradox Interactive have been selling an expansion for years without delivering it, and without any firm timeline. In the August 2025 update, tucked away near the end, Colossal Order writes, "Before this dev diary comes to an end, we promise to touch on Bridges and Ports." Well, isn't that nice? They're gonna touch on an expansion that was announced years ago. The statement continues, "The delay of the expansions allows us to polish the features included in the expansion and expand the scope to include as many water-related features as possible. While we can't cover everything in one expansion, we're doing everything we can to ensure the expansion is worth the wait." This boggles my mind. How can you say in the same sentence that the multi-year delay will be worth the wait, but the expansion won't cover everything? Are they acknowledging that things within the base game will still be broken at the time the expansion releases? Or are they just managing expectations, signaling that even after all this time, the Bridges and Ports expansion will still feel underwhelming, with more features held back for future DLC? Either way, it's not a good look. 2 years since the game was released and the only expansion they have had for sale is not yet available. For comparison's sake, let's look at how many expansions were released for the first City Skylines within 2 years of its launch. We had After Dark, which added nightlife, leisure, and tourism specializations, and improved city services. Snowfall introduced trams and weather effects, road maintenance, and heating requirements. Natural Disasters added many types of natural disasters, helicopters, and new services. And Mass Transit, which expanded transportation networks with ferries, cable cars, monorails, and blimps. That's 4 full expansions within 2 years of release for City Skylines 1, and these expansions added major gameplay features. Compare this to 0 expansions delivered for City Skylines 2 in the same time frame. Yes, many of the mechanics added through expansions in the first game are already part of the sequel's base game, which is great, but true gameplay expanding DLC has yet to appear for City Skylines 2. Instead, they're selling cosmetic packs because gameplay mechanics are too hard to add to an already unstable game. I had to sell plasma just to afford the soft rock radio station pack, and I'm still feeling dizzy. So like and subscribe if you can. The lack of news on console ports, the asset editor, and the continued delay of the Bridges and Ports expansion aren't just broken promises, they're symptoms of a much deeper problem. The August 2025 blog post makes it clear that Colossal Order is still struggling to fix the game's core systems. The post highlights ongoing work to make supply chains more visible with a reworked production tab and a sand key diagram, which is a type of flowchart where the width of the lines represents the quantity of a resource. These updates look great and are much needed to make the economy easier to control, but they are late to the party and have yet to arrive. And then Colossal Order says, the production chains are due for a rebalancing. This is troubling. Nearly 2 years after release, a core mechanic of the simulation, the entire economic engine, is still considered unbalanced. And it's not just the economy. Colossal Order also says that they are still working on the game's water simulation, but this fix to the water simulation has also been pushed to a future update. Yes, the game is more stable than it was on launch day, but there are still many missing or broken features, and big cities can cause the game to stutter or crash. So where does this leave the game 2 years after launch? Many people call Cities Skylines 2 a dead game, but that isn't accurate. It's more like a game that's trapped in early access. Colossal Order and Paradox Interactive are content to fix it very slowly while they continue to sell cosmetic packs and an unreleased expansion. And the players are left to wonder when the game that they already paid for will be finished, if it ever is. With all that being said, I love the Cities Skylines series and hope it can get its act together. Thanks for hanging out with me. Subscribe and let me know if you're currently playing Cities Skylines 1 or 2. Will you be picking up the Bridges and Ports DLC if it ever comes out? Godspeed.